mind if I come in? Sweet. Yeah. Oh. I like how you always have Lucy in here with you. Just looking after you. Getting to be an old lady. Getting to be an old lady with a gray face. Not you, Pumpkin. You're the opposite. You, on the other hand, quite a spring chicken. Which is awesome. It's really cool. No, you know how proud of you I am, right? Like, I'm so proud of you. It's kind of ridiculous. But what was the best part of your day? Ooh. Ooh. So you got maybe a little bit of romance coming up. Not gonna lie. You know, the boys and the romance question. Like, I've always known or assumed that this day would come, and we'd eventually, you know, end up talking about boys and stuff. Not gonna lie, it feels very uncomfortable for me. Well, it's just because, I don't know. When you have a daughter, like you, who is beautiful and funny and smart and talented, that, of course, boys are going to like you, and that leads to a whole world of complications. And it's okay, I'm just preparing myself, that, and it's fine, because here's the thing. The thing is that I really trust you, okay? I really want you to know that. Like, I really have a very profound and deep trust. And we built up a good trust with each other, over the years. Hopefully you feel the same way about me, and that you feel like, you can tell me things. Or basically, I really hope you feel like you can tell me anything. And, my pledge to you is that even if it's something that, I really am uncomfortable with, that I will do my best to just listen. And if I can provide, any kind of guidance, I will. But I do understand that a lot of my job is to just listen to what you have to say. And so, starting to get into dating a little bit. Well, I don't know how it is in your generation, okay? And I mean that my generation, we did not grow up with smartphones. When I was a kid, we literally didn't even have the internet. So you've grown up in a profoundly different world than I did. And so I don't know if, my rules fully apply to your rules. But there's some fundamentals that I think are going to be really useful. Okay? Well, it's awkward to talk about, but okay. Let's can we do it? Can we? Okay. Sex. It's gonna happen, right? I don't know if you've had sex yet. I don't want to know. You know what? I don't want to know. I do want to know. Just don't worry about it. Forget that I asked. for now. Okay, no, it's fine. There are, and here's the thing, what I'm about to tell you, this doesn't apply to every human all the time. I'm speaking in generalities. These are kind of like broad strokes, brushes. But it's very directionally correct. Okay, and I learned this. I when I was a little, I was about your age. My mom, your grandma, had me watch in VHS. Remember what those are? Those plastic rectangles you put into a VCR. On VHS tape, your grandmother had me watch John Gray's "Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus." Now, it's a little outdated. However, there are a couple really key takeaways. One really key takeaway for young men is how men and women in general view point systems differently, right? So, like, if a guy does something really nice for you, that's 1 point, right? If he gets you a flower, it's 1 point. If he gets you a dozen flowers, it's 1 point. If he writes you a note, it's 1 more point. If he buys you a tennis bracelet, it's one of those like little bracelets, like, jewels, that's 1 point, right? In your mind. Whereas in men, we view it differently. If we buy, like a really expensive, like a dozen, like 2 dozen roses and a tennis bracelet, and he spends, $500 or $1,000 on 2 dozen roses and a tennis bracelet. In his mind, that's like 50 points. He's like racking chips, right? And in most women's minds, that's still 1 point, even though it's a big grand gesture. And I'm not saying it's not a little bit more valuable, but you kind of get where I'm going. Okay? There's been several men in my life that I've spoken with that had no idea that was the case in their marriages. And they... I remember it was one friend, I told him that, and he was just like blown away by this. And he'd been married for, 6-7 years. And he was like, wait, what? So, are you serious? Like, that's how points work? And when my wife, when your mom verified it with him, he was just like, I had no idea. So I think that's a good thing for men to learn. For women, here's something I want, and this was the reason I this was the case for me. Okay, so again, is this the rule for everyone always? No. Are there always exceptions? Yes. But this was very true for me regarding intimacy. And I remember when I was 16, 17, this really hit me. And that is, men and women seem to have kind of a fundamentally different way of looking at intimacy. Both men and women crave intimacy. We love intimacy. Intimacy is beautiful. I'm talking about physical intimacy here, okay? And for men, the highest kind of like, vulnerability of intimacy is, having sex. And what's weird, though, is this pattern that men do is when they get a lot of intimacy, especially culminating in what they're after, which is sex. As soon as they get it, they have this very strong desire to run away. And it's not permanent, but it's like the way John Gray described it, and this is, again, directionally true. Men are like rubber bands, and we have to you have to teach the rubber band muscle that When you're together, you're being intimate, and then you have this strong desire to pull away, to stretch out, and you want to go kind of find yourself a little bit as a guy. And women will often be like, well, why are you running away from me? Don't run away from me. Come back to me. Come back. Come back. Don't go away. And instead of letting that man just kind of let the rubber band, because eventually his rubber band will stretch out and he'll want intimacy again, and then he'll be romantic, and you get that. You know how guys are like super romantic when they're trying to get in your pants? Well, I remember being the same way. And I remember feeling like I was like I would write poems and like notes and stuff. And once I felt like I had gotten the intimacy that I wanted, I felt a very genuinely strong pull to like get away. Okay? I'm not even sure why this is. It's just generally true. Once men get their intimacy need fulfilled, they often will go away. So here's an example of like a couple, you'll have a couple that'll go away on like a romantic weekend, and they'll spend all this time together, go rent a cabin or something, and 2 days and 3 nights or whatever. They're just very lovey-dovey and everything, and they get back home, and then the guy will like want to like go be with his boys. I want to go kick it and like go do some manly things. And the woman will be like, well, no, we've just had this amazing weekend together. Come here. I want more of this wonderful intimacy that we've been causing and building together. And so you have this weird pull. So he's like running away and she's chasing after him, and he's like, go away, and she's like, come here. And then it's like you have this discord. And I wish I could tell you like that is an anomaly, and that's not how men often behave. And it was my experience. Like, I remember this feeling very clearly when I would get intimacy. This is when I was like 16. I had a very visceral reaction to like get away and like not. I really didn't want to see her for just a little bit, not long. Just a little bit. I was like, I'm good. And instead of being like, well, why are men like that? I don't know. I don't have answers for you in that regard. But it is very much my observation as a very common male pattern. Now, why do I say this to you? Because I want you to be aware that, and I'm sure you are aware of this, that men do not regard sex as emotionally intense as women. And I think that this is generally the case. Are there exceptions? Of course there are exceptions. But if you were betting and you had to guess like, okay, there's a guy and a girl, they hook up. Which one is going to be more emotionally attached to the other? If you were a betting person, you would bet on the woman. And you could basically argue evolution, I suppose. Women have a much, much higher level of burden on the act of sex. You all can get pregnant, and that's a 9-month it's 9 months of your whole body changing dramatically and creating a human life, and then you have another 18 years, whatever, 14 to 18 years of like raising this kid, right? So I think just sociologically, anthropologically, this kind of makes sense. Whereas women are much choosier, with their partners. Women, women are the ones who really decide, who gets to get laid. That's very much in the woman's hands. You're the ones who are much choosier, and for very good reason. And I don't think it's not about making one right and the other one wrong. Like, well, men are bad because they're not as choosy and they're okay with being more promiscuous. Well, I don't know, it's different. Or women are a type of way because they're much more choosy. Well, then you get like the incel guys, right? And they're like, oh, F all women, and all women are stupid, and they need to be like put in their place. And those guys are such idiots. I really have a strong dislike for those men. Like you've heard them, like the Andrew Tate, like those morons. Like those guys they're clueless. I really believe that. They're emotionally stunted, and they don't understand how to have the real intimacy and real connection, and how to be a father and really have responsibility. They're obsessed with like surface level garbage, and not like the real meat and potatoes of life. To me, that's my opinion. And but just be aware that in spite of that the men you're gonna meet are gonna be way quicker, probably. There's always exceptions. Probably gonna be way quicker to want to get into your pants than you will want to. And I want you to know that you can make them wait. Okay? Look at me. This is very important. Okay? This is very important. You don't owe your boyfriends anything. Okay? Look at me. This is really, really important. You don't owe them anything. They're gonna be fine. You go through this experience at your pace. Okay? You are under zero obligation, zero pressure, no matter what he says, to quote unquote satisfy him. Okay, does that make sense? Good. Because I know that, I know what it feels like to have somebody, to feel like you owe somebody something. I know what that feels like. It's an icky feeling, right? It's icky. It's like, I don't really want to do this, but they did X, Y, and Z for me, and so I'll just do it, because even though I don't want to, I feel bad. You don't have to do that. Okay? And I really, really want you to get that. You don't have to do that. Does that make sense? Yeah. You don't owe them anything, okay? And if there's some guy, he's like being really pushy, and it's like, oh, come on, babe. Oh, come on, babe. It's not a big deal. Come on, babe. Tell him to piss off, okay? Like, tell me his name. No, I'm not going to threaten the kid. That's a terrible idea. I'll be very upset, though. And I might have a talk with his parents. No, I think, the days of, like, the dad, threatening to beat up, his daughter's suitors. I think those days are a little done. I think we moved past those days, but I deeply understand the sentiment. Deeply. People understand the desire to grab a young man by the back of his neck and throw him into a river. Don't get me wrong, I really understand that desire. And we don't act like that anymore. Not in polite society, okay? We move past that. But yeah, but again, you don't owe anybody anything like that. So, if and when, you decide you want to get intimate with somebody, please just take your time. Just take your time, alright? There's no rush. You are in control of the pace. You are, okay? Not him. You are in control of the pace. And if he has a problem with that, well, you know you're with the wrong person. And just stop, hunt, and move on, right? Yeah. Because the right person, the right guy will 100% listen to you and respect you and hear you. Yeah, and if he doesn't, he's like some, whatever, bros, like, whatever you call, like, the Andrew Tate morons of the world, like, that manosphere crap, or, like, whatever you call those people, if he's one of those guys, you don't want to be with him, I mean, some guys can be really tricksy. Again, a man who is on a quest to get laid can be an incredibly devious, charming, romantic fellow, okay? Be aware of that. But that's why we take it slow, darling. That's why we take our time. There's no rush. But hope what I'm saying makes sense. And like future on down the line, I don't have to worry about this so much yet. But like once you find somebody who you really want to be more serious with romantically, and you want to start being intimate with on a more regular basis, I just want you to be aware of that give and take, the pull away and the comeback, and the pull away and the comeback of men and how they view sexuality and intimacy, and communicate. I can't stress that enough. Talk to your partner. Talk about everything that you want to happen, that you like, that you don't like. The things that you want to do, the things that you don't want to do. And here's a real bummer about humans, is in spite of our best efforts, we are not mind readers. I know, crazy idea. I'm telling you, we're not mind readers, and one of the most glaring examples of our incredible lack of ability to mind read is men and women. The amount of time that a woman has tried to read a man's mind and got it right is very little. And the amount of times that a man has tried to read a woman's mind and gotten it right is very little. So, don't try to read each other's minds, is my point. Don't try to mind read. Communicate, okay? Communicate your wants. Communicate what you are comfortable with, how you want things to go. And if he's not okay with that, get rid of him, okay? He's not what you want, alright? Does that make sense? Am I just being a super awkward dad and just like, am I ruining everything? I hope not. I'm trying my best. Alright. Honey. I love you so freaking much, it's stupid. It's stupid how much I love you. It's stupid. You're the best. Okay, Peanut. Sorry, I shouldn't call you that anymore. Whatever. I'm gonna say what I want. Your dad. But, alright, kiddo. Alright. Well, sweet dreams. You all ready for bed? Got your water? Check. Brush your teeth? Yeah, I trust you. Smile. Those look pretty clean. Alright, honey. Sweet dreams. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. I worry about you. And I trust you that you're going to make intelligent, wise, informed choices and have informed consent. Okay? Okay, honey. Alright. Get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning.